foodies, old Scooter Fox here. Today I'm going to go down to my local butcher and get some ribs. Do some ribs up on my new smoker for you, show you how I do them. Going to head down to my butcher. It's the Gold Coast Fresh Meat Centre in Burleigh. These guys have got the goods. What they don't have in stock isn't worth having, I tell you. They've got everything. They've got a range of like frozen foods from like even Pluto pups and calamari rings right through. They've got pet food. They've got all your meats, your pork, your chicken, your lamb, your beef, whole cuts, pre-cut. They've got their own range of small goods there, bacons, salamis, all that sort of stuff. They've got rissoles, they've got hamburgers, they've even got like rubs, they've got sauces if you're into barbecuing, they've got all your coals and pellets, they've got all that sort of stuff, huge range down there. So go down and see these guys. If you're after something, they'll have it, whole briskets, all that good stuff. So I'm going to whip down there, grab some ribs, and then whiz back home, and I'll show you how I like to prepare my ribs on my pellet smoker, Pit Boss Navigator 850. Let's do it. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a couple of different types of pork ribs today. I've got your normal baby back style cut, and I've got, these are more like a 4/4 rib cut. They're a bigger bone of the rib, and they've got a bit more meat on them as well if you like them a little bit more meaty. They will take a little bit longer, these ones, but yeah, I'll show you the process on how I get it done. So one of the most important steps in doing ribs, we've got to get rid of this rear membrane. So what I do is I just give it a little pick at the end here and get it started up. Then I take my trusty old pliers, I grab that membrane and then just peel it back like so. Once you get it started, you can get a good grab on it, and it should all come off pretty reasonably easily. As you can see, it comes up, get a good grab, and off it comes in one go. Okay, so first step here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to apply a binder. I like to use the New York flame grill mustard. You could use any mustard, American sweet mustard, that sort of thing. And I've got 2 rubs that I like to use as well. This is more like a salt and pepper type basic sort of seasoning style, and this is your more of a smoky, and it gives you that real nice finish on your ribs. Okay, like I said, we start with the binder, being the mustard. So you want a nice even coat on either side of the rib with your mustard, and that'll allow the spices and rubs to stick to the meat really well. Then I go on with my first rub, which is a salt and pepper style rub, and then I do my smoky finish rub over the top of that. That smoky finish rub, put it on pretty liberal, because at the end it's going to give you a really nice bark and a good appearance for your ribs. They're going to look super, super tasty. Now, as you can see, I've seasoned these ribs on both sides really well with my binder and my rubs. And what I want to do now is leave that on there for around about half an hour to an hour, just to what they call the sweat, get what they call the sweat. So they'll start to get a little bit sticky and moist, and that seasoning will get right into the meat. At this time is when you want to whiz out and get your pit ready to go. Okay, so this is my Pit Boss Navigator 850 pellet smoker. Now look guys, you can do these ribs on any type of smoker you want, the offset, the egg, whatever. Just follow the same temperatures and I'm sure you'll get the same results. I'm using the Pit Boss today. I really enjoy the pellet smoker. It's really good. And let me just say one other thing too. This is only my way of doing ribs. There's a million different ways of doing ribs, so you can follow this recipe to a T if you want, or just take, you know, bits and pieces out of it if you think they're a good idea or relevant to how you want to cook your ribs. But the main thing is, when we're cooking ribs and we're doing smoking and we're doing this stuff, is to enjoy what we do and make good food. So anyway, I'm going to crack on with it, get it fired up, and I'll show you what temperatures I run. Okay, so I've got my Pit Boss set at 120 degrees Celsius, and that's how I want to do it for my first stage. I forgot to mention too, the pellets I'm using are a cherry blend today. So let's get these bad boys into the pit. Now we want to go straight in, straight onto the grill for the first stage of this cook. what we're going to do is we're going to set the bark. So I've got it set on a high smoke setting, and I'm going to run it at 120 degrees for probably about 2 hours. We're going to spritz it every half an hour. Okay, so they've been in for about half an hour now. I'm going to give it the first spritz. I just use a bit of apple juice for my spritzing, just to keep them nice and moist. A good liberal coat of that. We'll do that again in another half an hour, and every half an hour for 2 hours, and then we'll do the next stage. So the ribs have been in the smoker at 120 for 2 hours now, and they are looking great. Just starting to get a little bit of pull back there. The cutler's good, the bark is set. So now it's time for the next stage of the preparation. So what I get is a double layer of foil, and I sprinkle a little bit of my rub down on the bottom, and I place the ribs top side down onto that rub. Now, then what I do is I add a bit of my special sauce. So what I do basically, I get barbecue sauce with chicken stock, around about 50-50, probably a little bit more barbecue sauce than stock, but in the stock I melt some butter, and I just mix that through. And you want to go quite liberal with this stuff. Get it right in there, like so. Let it flow over. And then what we're going to do is just wrap it up, put it in bed. Nice and tight. The double wrap will help with the insulation and the spills. So nice and tight, just like that. And that's ready to go back onto the smoker. Now that the ribs are wrapped and ready to go back in the smoker, at this time is when I put the temperature up a bit. Now low and slow is good, guys, but you've got to have a little bit of heat to be able to get that breakdown process that you need to break down the sinew and make your sinews and fats and make your ribs nice and tender. So up to 150 and back in, wrapped for about an hour. So they've been in the smoker now for about an hour wrapped. Time to unwrap them and have a look and see where we're at. Oh yeah, and that's perfect. You can see a little bit of pull back there. I can tell they're tender, but I can also tell that the rack itself is still in one piece. It's not just going to fall apart. That's what we want. We want them to have that, so it's got a little bit of what they call the tug, or a little bit of bite on there as well. So we're at the final stage now. What we're going to do is glaze it. I'm just going to put just a little bit more rub on, just a little bit, just for appearance. Now I've made a glaze here just out of mixing a few of my favorite sauces. No, I'm not sponsored by Bullseye, and no, they don't give me anything. I just really like their product. But you could use whatever you want, mix it up, have fun experimenting with different flavors. And you just want to glaze over the top there, a nice coverage, just to give them that final appearance. And then back into the smoker for about 15 minutes just to set the glaze, and we're done. All right, it's been about 15 minutes, and you can see that that glaze is nice and set on there now. They are ready to go. So next step, the best part, let's go in and give them a try. All right, well here we have them. These are the baby back ribs, ready to rock and roll. As you can see, there's a little bit of pull back there, which is great. Like I mentioned before though, they're still in one piece, which is what you want for the bite. The most important thing is though, the tenderness on actually biting them off the bone. Oh. Look at that for a start. Nice smoke ring. And the best part of cooking ribs. Unbelievable. Like I said, You know, if you like them fall off the bone, very well, do it. You know, leave them in for a few more hours and turn them to mush, but this is how ribs, in my opinion, should be. Tender, but still falling off the bone. A little bit of bite, a little bit of tug on there. But the bones still come out clean. Wow. And time for the big daddies here. Oh, tell you what, these are definitely meaty ribs. Let's just rip one down there. Look at that. Oh. Again, a nice, beautiful smoke ring there. Plenty of juice still in the meat, as you can see. Oh my, these big meaty ones. Wow. And they just fall off the bone. So juicy, so tender, so beautiful. You got to give these a try. Well guys, thanks for joining me again on Food with the Fox. I'm going to tuck into these because these are absolutely beautiful. Give them a go. I'd love to know, you know, some hits and tips of if you do ribs. Put them down in the comments below. Always learning and always willing to try new methods. So, like always, if you've liked the video, hit like. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. And the old Scooter Fox will see you next time there's food involved. Oh. Mmm.